Today we're going to talk about using handsets to provide location information during emergencies. I'm delighted because this is clearly the most interesting panel of the day. I'm absolutely loving my panelists. There's a wide variety of people here, each representing the best in the industry. It's also a way for us to round up the conversation we've had about locating emergency control very nicely. To do that, we're going to look at the ECC reports we published recently. We're going to look at the role of GSA and how that's changing, how that's evolving. And we're going to come back to the AML project that we discussed a little bit yesterday into more details, and also give you the opportunity to ask some questions. And we're going to then look at the next steps for you. How do we implement AML, or how do we implement location in emergency calls? With an idea on who's taking responsibility and who are the stakeholders involved. To do all that, I've got a fantastic panel I would like to thank. We have John Maitland from BT, who we have heard about yesterday. We have David William from HCMTEL, also with a Qualcomm cap occasionally. We have Magnus Persson, who's got a fantastic job title, positioning specialist at Sony Mobile Communication. How perfect is that? You couldn't get it. And then we have Jacopo O'Reilly from is an external consultant for GSA. We heard about yesterday a little bit. And then Johannes Walsberg, who is the legal advisor for the Norwegian Communication Authority and chairman of CEPT. And finally, but not least, we have Richard Lee, the CEO of Creativity Software, who is now deploying GNSS-based emergency communication in South America. And tell us a little bit about that. And if you don't know me, I'm Thomas Hallower, and I'm the research director at the Consulting Group. So let's get started. I'd like to start with you, Johannes. CEPT recently published the ECC report 225 with a sexy name, establishing criteria for the accuracy and reliability of the call allocation information in support emergency services. I tried, but I didn't manage to do it. So that report, seriously, recommends harmonizing European approach for the implementation of call allocation solution, and suggests that GNSS positioning should complement the existing network-based method rather than replacing. In one word, shall we start with the requirements? From the report and from your experience, and that's also to the panel after Johannes, what are the requirements for accuracy and reliability today?
Thank you very much, first of all, for having me here. Thank you also to EENA for having me. As you said, I'm the chairman of the CEPT Working Group on Operating Networks, and we have recently delivered this report on accuracy call allocation solutions. And you asked me directly for the requirements. I think just it's first to say that I think Europe, with the report of the Productive ES of the CEPT, has taken a very large and good step forward, trying to harmonize the fragmented solutions in Europe. As you might know, there is no straightforward solution. So we needed to take this first step to have a background, and there we advise on GNSS to be one of the stands out as the most reliable, cost-effective, and accurate ways to do this. And that's the first step. So there will be more other steps, and to do those other steps, we need all the stakeholders in the 112 arena in Europe to participate. We can't pull this off all by ourselves. We need the Commission, we need EENA, we need the technical body, the standardization body. So I'm here just to say that we have done the first step from a regulatory point of view, and now we will do.
Richard, do you want to add something on the requirements that you've seen from your experience?
I think I take a quite simplistic view of it, that there are lots and lots of different technical solutions that can be applied to the problem. But unless the objective is set, i.e. what we're trying to achieve in terms of a definition of accuracy, then I think everyone gets lost in the technical maze. So John Maitland has done a fantastic job of finding a technical solution to the problem in the UK using handsets. GNSS, we're going to talk a little bit more about. But there are lots of technologies that contribute to delivering accuracy, and in my view, unless and until the European Commission sets some measure of accuracy, then everybody will continue to just get confused by the various technologies that are available. And I think if we look at some of the countries countries around the world that have taken a more aggressive position towards it. I don't know if Mr. Christian Rivera is here from Ecuador. Ecuador are in the process of implementing a 50-meter accuracy solution. We're implementing a 50-meter solution in Colombia and in Brazil, all using AGNSS and a combination of other factors. And I think it's quite disappointing that the European Commission hasn't been able to find any form of definition of accuracy in 10 years of legislating.
Would you say something else?
No, other than I think I could agree that Europe in this field, I think we should be honest to ourselves. I think Europe hasn't been best in the class. From the CBT side, we had several meetings, web meetings with the FCC, with the US administration, and with Tim Mayer, who's Brian Parker from the FCC, and we were impressed with what they're doing. So Europe has to learn. We have to be humble, and we have to say that, of course, we don't have the federal structure. We have a fragmented structure. So we need to take that into consideration and do our best.
But do you think AGNSS was enough as a recommendation?
No.
We got
No, I don't think it's enough. But I think it's an important first step, taking into consideration the situation in Europe. It's a necessary step. I think it's the best part. But there will be other steps in the field of emergency services and caller accuracy. And I think we are now, as compared to some years ago, in a very much better position to take those challenges. So I'm very positive for the future. And as you know, EENA has lobbied very well for the Parliament, having some suggestions for GNSS in Article 26. Now that's in a trilogue discussion between the Commission, Council and Parliament, so let's see what happens. The EU legislative work is very confusing, I must admit, but let's see. I hope, and we have also supported EENA's views towards the Commission, especially on the GNSS. And hope that they come through, but you never know. And there will be a new review also.
I mean, there are no numerical targets, and we were having this conversation whereby it's very difficult to start numerical targets, but when the FCC started to say, well, we want to have that accuracy, CTIA responded 1 year trimming, and 2 years ago the FCC required from mobile and the operators industry in the US to add vertical location, and there was a local letter from the CTIA that actually pretty much said that you are trimming. And 2 years down the line, the iPhone 6 come out with a barometer in it, and then now all the mobile phones have a barometer, which suggests that, well, they were not dreaming, and it is now possible. So really, who has responsibility to step forward and say, okay, let's move forward, let's get it done, and let's put some targets in place? That's the way you believe.
Well, I think the Commission has a key role in this. If you want harmonization in Europe, especially if you want to set some targets, the Commission has a key role on this. But yeah, so yeah.
I would just add that I think every PSAP, every emergency service, should be crying out for it to the national government, crying out for better location, and really demanding better location from its government, its national government. I think the more people ask for it and say it's possible, because it is possible, and ask either national governments or national governments working at European level to make it possible.
Okay. Well, let's move on a little bit. The report also requested the improvement on ID location. And just wanted to ask, John, maybe if you want to go back on the IMS that you mentioned a little bit briefly yesterday, and how that could help and how that could go forward.
I don't remember mentioning IMS yesterday.
I mentioned it for you. You said that basically it was a perfect delivery mechanism in theory. Oh, I'm so sorry. And that it was IT on paper and it was pushed by voice over Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom.
I said that. Yeah, the IMS emergency call is what is coming. It's going to be the mobile network operators' long-term replacement for 112 emergency calls. So IMS emergency call is what's coming. That's internet protocol so good that the PSAP operator would get the GPS coordinates before even answering the call. So coming up on the screen with the caller ID and exactly where the caller is.
And the location coming from the admin network itself?
Well, you would get that as well, but the data that's carried in the signalling from the handset to the PSAP could be the GPS data from that's derived from the handset.
Any questions at this stage? Please raise your hands and shout out. Otherwise, we just move on. I wanted to bring in Jacopo from GSA. GSA has been involved for some time in the area of emergency co-location, and we await, the promise of a multi-constellation mass market GNSS with the promises of better quality and accuracy. And also the suggestion that there could be a legislation created to mandate the use of GNSS in mobile devices. A bit like the EENA one did 11 years ago now, I think, and the era GLONASS has done more recently. So, Jacopo, can you tell us a little bit more about how Galileo would improve co-location situation in Europe? You mentioned it yesterday, so we don't have to expand too much on that, but maybe mention EGNOS, which was mentioned yesterday.
Okay, sure. First of all, let me thank you for this for inviting me to this panel. Yeah, thanks for inviting me to this panel. And of course, we have Galileo and EGNOS. In terms of Galileo, as I was explaining yesterday, we have benefits with what regards technical ones. So in terms of multi-constellation, interoperability with GPS and other GNSS such as GLONASS or PEDU. And in this case, we have basic performances improved in terms of accuracy and availability. Then we have some specific differentiators from Galileo, such as better performance in challenging environments, such as multi-path in cities. Or we have Galileo S authentication. It is a way to protect the signal space from external tampering. Or again, we have the dataless signal. It is a specific signal of Galileo, able to provide, let's say, navigation in light indoor environments. On top, as you were saying, we have also EGNOS, but this case is a bit particular, I would say, because EGNOS is now equipped in most of chipset for mobile phones, but still it is not enabled most of the time because as a meditation system it has stringent requirements in terms of battery, because the kind of messages is short-lived, and it means that it would require a lot of battery consumption, and usually it's not just used. Nevertheless, the improvements in terms of accuracy are quite relevant in this case, because we have achievable accuracy of the range of 1 meter, and for sure it will be quite good for improving the system. And on top of this, we have also strategic benefits, because Galileo is the only, and EGNOS, of course, are the only satellite navigation systems under civilian use, while the other ones are under military control. And on top, you have also kind of redundancy, because also you have more systems available. You will be able to make use of positioning with much more probability, as in case of failure of other systems as happened in the past.
Thanks. I mean, we heard what Gary talked about this yesterday. In your opinion, when will we see a mandate for GNSS in mobile devices?
Well, of course, this one is not an easy question to address, because stakeholders involved are many and with different viewpoints. And of course, I represent the European GNSS Agency that has an advising role in regards to the power to this extent. But still, personally, I'm quite positive on it, so I share your being positive, because I see you ask me when and not whether the Commission will implement such mandate. And
anybody has a view on this? Please,
I'd like to make the point that on mobile devices, the location you can get is pretty good already, and it's getting better. I mean, at least GPS gives you something that's a lot better than cell ID. With GPS, it's usually enough for the first responder to find the emergency caller in a rural area. But if we look at what technology is coming to mobile devices, we've got more constellations, so we can get a better fix. Possibility of AGNSS being deployed in networks. And even if AGNSS is not deployed in networks, we're still going to have some of the assistance data on the chipsets. Qualcomm, for example. We're going to put the orbital data in the chipset, so that helps the calculation. You know which satellites to look for and which to ignore. And then we've got Wi-Fi location coming, barometers, as you would say. So we're going to get really good location on handsets. We just need to get it to the PSAP. There's no good being on a handset, but PSAP doesn't have it, and that's all not it at all.
But just on the mandate question, Magnus, from a handset manufacturer perspective, a mandate for putting GNSS on all phones, not just smartphones, of course. Is that one problem today, do you think? And you have to talk on behalf of all the manufacturers in the world, I'm afraid.
That will be difficult, of course, but in our view it should be fine. But again, we really favor if you have performance-based requirements instead of having technology being specified, because as technology moves quite fast, it's better to be future-proof.
So in fact, you agree that the mandate should not be on technology and it should be on exactly what it does, and where it's location.
Can I just ask, sorry, at what point does the obligation pass towards the handset manufacturers? At the moment, there's no problem with getting accuracy, is there? There's no problem with getting accuracy today, forget about the future. It's getting that location data towards a PSAP, without that PSAP having to invent something like John has had to do. So, do you feel comfortable as a handset manufacturer that you're actually going to be all right on this? Because the EC hasn't managed to legislate towards European-based mobile operators, so it's hardly right to be able to legislate towards American and Asian handset manufacturers to impose a burden on you, which is where it swings, of course. It swings away from the network operators towards the handset manufacturers. So you're quite safe, aren't you? Because there's no risk at all of the EC ever legislating here.
Yes, but then again, if the operator will get the requirements, we need to be involved in that and support it. And I think we are at the moment supporting a lot of different technologies that make it possible to get location from the handset, everything from control plane to secure user plane location and so on in all devices. But if this is what needed to make it really simple, and but of course we still see that it's the operator that is responsible for providing this. But if we can help out in many cases to get higher accuracy, while still keeping the responsibility as operator to validate it. I think that's a very good way forward.
Just to complement on that, I think Europe has to take their own approach on this. We should learn from the FTC and our federal structure. But I think it's important that we take this first step, and I think criteria, more numerical criteria will probably come. But it was important for Europe to have a common fundament for our discussion first before we move to set criteria. That's my view.
John, from a wireless, now wireless operator, do you have a perspective of that?
Not yet a wireless
Not yet.
operator, no.
The conflicting messages.
I think you're referring to BT and EE.
Yes.
Hopefully, yes.
quality of the location, how would that affect the operator? What would be their reaction?
Yes, difficult. I think it would be better to have requirements on, not so much on technology, but on position and preciseness of location, rather than specifying a particular technology. I think there is still, I mean, yes, we can make good use of handset technology, and we should make good use of handset technology that's there. It's just almost mad not to use the location information that's there on handsets. But I think there's still a role for the networks. We still need the network location in our solution to validate the handset location, and I think it's still good that networks evolve the systems they use. We should be able to do better than cell ID within networks. I think the responsibility still remains on the networks, and in our solution the networks have to request the handset manufacturers to implement the AML solution. So I don't know if that answers the question.
But then we have comments from the crowd here. Yeah.
Okay. I have a question to Mr. Jacopo Averelli. Thank you. Hello, I'm Anna Kalonitsa, or Dr. Kalonitsa from Telemus Consulting Group, and I have a question to Mr. Jacopo Averelli. You mentioned in your talk about Galileo, and I wanted to ask about this specific feature of Galileo, which is search and rescue function. So this will be specific about Galileo because it will give feedback about emergency situation to both ends. So could you please explain how it will influence emergency services, if it will be accessible to public, if you can access this function on your phone, when it will be implemented? I understand it's many questions in one, but can you please describe this function a little bit more? Thank you.
Okay, I will try. Let's say that SIR, Search and Rescue, is a service from Galileo, as you were mentioning. Still, it is not really something about mobile phones. It refers to specific beacons to be used in maritime, aviation, and there is also PLB, personal locator beacon, to be used so by pedestrian, by normal people, let's say, for a professional role as the aviation or maritime one. But still, it is not something, at least as far as I know, that is going to be incorporated in a mobile phone. It is rather a different equipment. For sure, I think it might be really interesting for a PSAP, for an emergency operator, and especially because it is something working inside the internationally recognized COSPAR's ASAT system, so that it is a joint effort together with GPS and GLONASS and other authorities involved. But still, Galileo is going to offer also the retro-link capability, so that the person in distress will be able to send a message and also to receive a confirmation by the emergency services that it is something that might be good, at least for a psychological effect. But still, I don't see how this feature can be incorporated in the mobile talks or in a mobile phone. At least at the moment it's not on the cable.
Okay, thank you. You have a question?
James Winterbottom. This question is mostly for your hands, but anybody else feel free to hop in. I guess you know that EENA and others have been banging their heads against the BBC for a long time in terms of trying to get accuracy mandates, which would be distributed across Europe. And yep, I totally agree that GNSS will absolutely love the results in handsets, but mandating it in handsets without mandating accuracy requirements, and then consequently the machinery necessary in order to actually get it to PSAP doesn't help. What do you think the barriers are to independent member states actually implementing their own accuracy standards or mandating them, and why hasn't that occurred?
I think it's a very good point and a very good question. I think it's back to the nature of how Europe is organized. And it's, fragmented solution. The European Commission, or the European Union has only 28 member states. CBT has 48 member states, so the organization that I represent can have a broader footprint, but we don't have the same legislative powers as the European Union. So I think we all agree on that we need to do this, and I think we all agree on that accuracy standards might come. Just some of us are more wants to do it quicker than the others, and I think perhaps at this point we can now look at step 2, because now the fundamental of the ECC report is there. And I would just like to congratulate them. Florian Dragover is there. If you can raise your hand, Florian, is the one responsible for the drafting and creation of the ECC report. So now Europe has taken the first step, and we can now take the second step. And I think that's really it is the second step that we're talking about now. And I think everybody's open for inputs on that.
Okay. Do you have another question? Yes?
A question for Richard, sorry, Tony O'Brien from EENA. One of the defence mechanisms, or one of the defence arguments we've heard over the last number of years has been costs. It's going to cost X, Y, Z to deploy this technology, to give us the information, the caller location information that we need. I think everybody has nodded their head and said, yes, we need it. And Johannes' report calls that out in the second or third bullet point in the report. But costs, I think, was an argument perhaps used in the past. So you mentioned earlier, Richard, that you were deploying solutions in South America. Is there any way you can break the myth of the fact that it doesn't cost an arm and a leg like it used to say, at least we were told it was going to cost us? And how do we get past that idea that in some way the mobile networks are going to suffer as a result of whatever accuracy requirements we place in terms of mandatory targets?
Thank you. In terms of addressing the second point first, which is what burden does it place on the mobile operators? Well, the burden at the moment is that it's financial, because in most countries, when legislation is passed, the operators are obliged to buy the solution. Now, it doesn't matter if it costs them €100 or €1 million, they have to put money towards it, and they don't see themselves as a social service, which is correct, they're commercial organisations. So there is an issue of who pays. I believe that if you remove that financial burden, then to an extent the operators would reduce their objections to this movement towards higher accuracy. They also have to do some work, and most human beings like to avoid taking on more work when they don't get a reward for it. So I think it's less about how much it is and more about who pays. But to put some quantum, to give you the answer, a nationwide solution with accuracy to 200 metres, you can get deployed for $2 million. So in the world of mobile, that's not a great amount. In the world of savings for efficiency and effectiveness of deploying emergency vehicles, I don't think that's very much. There are case studies that show the cost of deploying emergency service vehicles that quickly get saved by having that degree of accuracy. And to give you some idea that this is not difficult, I mean, given the complexities of the worlds that you have and the problems that you all have to fix on a daily basis, we started implementing in Colombia 4 weeks ago, and we'll finish in 4 weeks' time. So it takes 8 weeks to give them accuracy of 50 metres in cities, 200 metres in towns, 300 metres in rural areas. So it's not difficult to get these things deployed now. It's the objection by the mobile operators, rightly so, because they're being asked to pay, and there's no mandate to make them do it.
Okay. If there's any other question, I would move on to actually getting the data to the PSAPs, and that's where we talk about the AML project. The purpose of the AML project is to use the native and existing smartphone technology to pass high-grade location data to the emergency services. It's a simple, cost-effective solution to mobile location problem, and once the mobile handset knows its location, it's sent using a simple free of charge SMS, and most importantly, it's not an app. So, John, if you want to start, why did BT decide to initiate this project in the first place? And maybe you can give us some results so far.
The reason we initiated it was because we weren't seeing any advances in location being provided to the emergency services. We were still seeing cell ID some 12 years after we initially implemented passing cell ID to the emergency services, and also because we could see on the handsets that we were all carrying around with us that we knew where we were to within a few meters. And it was just that frustration that that wasn't available to the emergency services, but a lot of citizens were running around with their handset and knew the location. So that was the spur, is to say, well, there's location there. We should be able to get it to the emergency services. And how can we do that if no one else is spending any money on it?
And from the manufacturer perspective, from Sony, what was the initial impetus to get started with this?
Yeah, we sort of felt the same frustration. I think that it's a bit annoying that it works very well, and we know all this information and know a good way to get it on to receiving end in a good way. So we were really happy about this initiative. Big fan.
I mean, it sounds really simple and straightforward, especially compared to an app. But is it that easy, and what are the necessary components in order to make it work from both sides?
Yes, I mean there's three bits. So first of all, the handset has to know when an emergency call has been made, and when it does, it uses its location technology to either using GPS or GNSS or Wi-Fi, and it finds its location. And then how you transport that is the next stage. And so we already have in the UK a centralised SMS reception server that's used to support service for the deaf. So it's very easy to send an SMS free from any mobile to that server. And if we mark it differently, it can be distinguished from the calls for the deaf to be a location SMS. The third stage is actually how do you get that location information through to the emergency authorities, to the PSAPs. And so what we did was we actually posted the location from that server that received the SMS through to the location server that the PSAPs, police, fire and ambulance PSAPs, use to retrieve location. So it goes to the same place that they already get location from normally, be it cell or be it fixed name and address location, it's the same server. So we just posted the SMS, the extra SMS location to that same server. There is a fourth stage, which is a bit more optional, but we think it's important, where we compare the handset location to the network location and make sure that the handset location is valid. It's not based on an outdated Wi-Fi access point, for example. So we do that. You could do that manually, but we do it with an automated method. So that's the four stages, 3 and a bit stages.
From the handset manufacturer, what the stages?
So what we think is really good with this solution is that it can be, whoever on the network side decides that they would like to do this can do it. So I mean, we can send the information to the operator and they can integrate it with their network-based methods, or we can send it directly to the PSAPs or some kind of integrator of these kind of systems, this information. So not everyone in the country needs to be involved to deploy this, which is of course very attractive. Then by talking to some of the PSAP operator here, I understand it's quite hard to get all of the manufacturers and getting our attention. So we need to do some work there, I think, to hopefully with the help of EENA, to sort of, that they can contact EENA and then they can reach out and register in some way, so we know when a new country is interested in deploying this solution.
But I mean, from the handset feature, for naturally or regionally, I'm not sure how you program it. What is the actual, what you need to do? You need to do a firmware update? Is it something on your SIM card that you need to change? Exactly what do you guys need to do?
It will probably be different for different vendors, but it's usually a firmware update that can be pushed out.
So is it firmware on the OS or on the phone itself? Or where is the update?
On the phone.
So nothing to do with the SIM? Just the SIM card? Okay. There's a question as well about the text message that you sent. Should it be a standardized one? Since that, ideally we would like that text message formula to be replicated and used there as well.
Yeah, it would be very good to standardize the data format so that it's the same everywhere, every country, and the PSAP knows what's in the data message. Yeah, at Intel we could possibly do that, also possibly in SEN, TC278, e-safety. John and I were discussing this actually. In SEN they do application standards and system-wide standards. I personally feel it would be very good to have AML as a European standard, thinking about how to do that in Intel or SEN. Okay. Also think it would be good to study the future of AML. AML as it is now is great. Congratulate BT on taking the initiative. SMS is the appropriate delivery mechanism for now, but I think we should be moving to IMS in the longer term. It would be a good project to study that. SMS also has the roaming issue. It doesn't work in ban roaming. An easy way to, one way to fix that might be long numbers. There's a database of PSAP long numbers. Also, differing PSAP configurations in different countries is something we need to look at. So I think there's a good project there to look at all those things and maybe something the Commission will fund.
These long numbers, who will be saving them, who will be managing them, where will they be saved, on the device, on the server?
Yeah, well, all these things need to be thought about. It could be all stored on the device. The device knows which country it's in from the mobile country code, and therefore knows which long number to choose. But it all depends on there being an updated, maintained database of long PSAP numbers, and the PSAPs being willing to make those numbers available. Someone to manage it.
Anybody else want to mention?
I'll just jump in on that last point, Thomas.
Sure.
What BT have done is build a solution to the problem that they can't get the data from the mobile networks. So what John's done is basically recreate functionality which is immediately available today already, but he's had to punch a way through the wall. Now he can do that because he's BT, and BT are extremely well resourced, got fantastic R&D capabilities, and of course have a lot of mobile and fixed line experience, and they run the stage 1 PSAP in the UK. So as John said, the problem is not technology, it's about making your governments and your regulators aware that you need access to location. Forget about the technology, because there are several ways of fixing this. And I have to say, I've got a vested interest. We'll be happy to sell you the technology, and so will other people on the panel. But it doesn't really matter what technology you choose, because at the moment in Europe, we have the worst solution in place, other than countries that have nothing at all in most of Africa. But in most other countries, they have much better solutions than we have in Europe, because there's no legislation. So you need to pressure governments and regulatory bodies to say, just give a definition of accuracy, and then you can leave it to people like on the panel here to try and persuade what the best solution is. But what you need to know is that there are loads of solutions. The solutions are not the problem is the lack of regulation. So what John's done, what BT have done, is a fantastic solution to not being able to use the networks to get the information which already sits on the devices. devices don't need to be built out anymore. They've got all the information they need.
Thank you. Any reaction from your questions? No? John, how would you see how to integrate AML into location services in the future? Like, how would you expect other countries to be able to implement this?
Well, yes, as Richard says, we've managed to, because of our contacts, really blaze a trail here, I think, and sort of really set a precedent that I think others could follow. If there's nothing else forthcoming, and at the moment there doesn't seem to be anything else forthcoming. So I think for others to do it, the steps to go through were really asking the mobile network in your country or the handset manufacturer to make this facility available. But you also have to build the infrastructure if you haven't already got it. And Gary pointed out yesterday that about 18 countries already have an SMS emergency service, so there's some countries already without the infrastructure. So the third stage, remember, is how you get the SMS from the receiving server to the location server that the PSAPs use. So each country would have to think about how it would do that. So there is some thinking to be done on a country-by-country basis as to how that bit happens.
Is that the pull or push option?
It would be the pull option. You push it to the location server, but the PSAP would then probably have to pull it from that location server. So I think that there are things that could be done. And David was referring to the way you could sort of tackle the roaming issue, which is the other thing that we haven't yet tackled in our AML solution, which is the long number to know where to send the SMS to if you're in a different country.
Just comment a little bit on, also from CPT, we have looked into the UK with great interest, and we have Tim Guilford from Ofcom, is now leading a project or leading a work stream in the city on how to evaluate, how to implement accuracy measurements, accuracy, the way forward. And in the report, we also conclude that in addition to HMSS, there are also hybrid solutions, as you mentioned, with the Wi-Fi qualification system. So we don't put everything in one basket. As the development moves forward, of course, other instruments can be put into it. But as you said, I think it's also very important, and you made a point out, John, that we still need the network-based positioning to validate or to correct the positioning given from the handset. So that's also one of the conclusions in Florian's report. I agree with you a lot.
This standardized SMS, I'm really interested in. I mean, we've heard a lot about different apps. They also use SMS instead of information in these apps. Could they use the same standard? That makes these apps job a bit easier to have one set of information through SMS. Maybe.
Yes. I think it would make life easier. I think it's the standard or the format we use for the SMS message is quite simple, deliberately, and it's also, there is still room to put some extra things in there if people think of some extra things. Like at the moment it's X, Y, easting and northing. As the handset technology improves, we'd hope to have a Z coordinate in there as well, for example. So what we've got is flexible and simple. I don't know if Magnus, you wanted to add anything to that, because I think you have looked at other options as well, haven't you?
Yeah, we have some proposals for additions for the future, like indoor positioning, where a lot of emergency calls are placed, where we could add some floor numbering or information that could be valuable as well. Yeah.
Okay, well that's
just a general point that to ET and UK solution. I think the UK has been in the pioneer in many telecoms issues, especially also number portability, and I think it's very good that you're doing it, and I think it makes it can provide possibilities for all the other countries and to learn from what you're doing. And I'm sorry to say also learn from those mistake parts you will do. So it's very exciting. I'm very happy for the UK that you're doing this. It's very important.
Okay. Any question?
Okay. I mean, I was interested, conclusion seems to be coming to is that the cell location is still necessary to validate the handset location, but I see this as a big problem because, you know, in the previous session we talked about apps and things like this, and there's a lot of other ways to get 112 calls or emergency calls into the peace apps. Is there something missing from the handset technology that prevents, you know, it providing stale information or secure information that prevents middlemen dealing with it? Because you know, quite often hear from operators, oh, we don't trust it. We don't trust the location information we receive, so we're not going to use it. Is there something missing from the security aspect of the handset, whether that really could secure?
So I guess there are some things that we as a handset cannot protect us against. If you have a GPS repeater that sends out an incorrect signal, the device has a very hard time to detect that it's a repeater and not a really GPS signal it's receiving. And the same goes if it's being network-based positioning, like Wi-Fi access points can be moved around, and it takes some time until the location of those access points are updated in databases. So that could also result in an incorrect position. It's not very often, but we really think that it should be validated with the network information as well.
I think that's pretty ideal, but if we can't be in a situation where that's absolutely necessary. So, because you know, there are lots of cases where that network information is not available.
It's like you're saying, the network information is always available, because if you're making a call from a mobile phone, it knows where you are.
Well, yeah, the information from the handset is all available, but you might be using some other top application or can't always rely on the mobile operators.
Yeah, I think maybe the way to look at this is to think about the most intelligent piece in the whole chain is the person making the call. Right? So if I was to have to make a call now, I'd be able to tell someone exactly where I am. The fact that I'm indoors doesn't matter, I'm making a call. I don't need to rely on any technology. I can tell them very clearly where I am. Unfortunately, of course, in most instances, the person isn't calm, doesn't necessarily know where they are, so then you fall back to the second piece, which is the phone. Now, some phones are really clever, and they can send their location position back to a PSAP. And as we explained, John's system identifies that and then validates that against a network set of data. But a lot of phones aren't that clever. So we're talking about smartphones and AGNSS. There are, a large number of phones still around Europe which don't have those capabilities. So you need to cater to those. Now, you can determine where those phones are as long as you have the network fallback. At the moment, the network fallback uses cell ID, which is, to use a fishing net analogy, it's designed to catch big whales, right? But you want to be able to locate someone with better accuracy. It just needs that net tightening up on the network. So you do need software in the network that locates with better accuracy than is provided for at the moment. And that's a software change at the mobile network. And that is a requirement to make sure that you don't rely upon the single point of failure, which is either the person making the call or the person's device. You want to be able to know where they are, regardless of the capabilities of either of those two pieces in the chain. And you can do that using the network data. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But,
does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think probably not the way I would like it personally. I think, yeah. You need to get the location independently of the transport mechanism. That's what I'm saying. I think you need to find ways of being able to trust that information.
Yes, but you can trust the network, that's the point. You can't always trust the handset, although John has run a lot of statistics to validate what they're seeing come back. But you can rely upon the network because the network has to know where you are in order to deliver a signal to you. So if it can't find you, it can't deliver a signal to you, and therefore you can't make a call. This problem isn't a problem for this particular panel about locating you. You can make
But if you're using the Wi-Fi for that call, that network is not available.
Okay, so then we begin to get into the minutiae of solving the problem. The big problem is mobile calls. If you then say, well, what about Wi-Fi? So okay, that's a subset. But I think trying to address the broader issue of being able to improve location if we try and break down that problem and start by fixing the smaller parts, we'll never fix the bigger part, and that is you don't have location wherever you are when you make a mobile call.
I think I agree.
Okay, we get one, guys.
So, yeah, just want to get away from the case where the operator say, I don't trust that information, I'm not going to use it. Better than that.
I was just going to say, I mean, in practice what we're finding is that we can use the handset location 95% of the times we get one. So we are having to discard 5% roughly of times. And I would back what Richard was saying, you still need that network location there to do validation where you can. I mean, there's possibly even some enhancements we can do to collect a bit more information from the handset that might help us with that actually. If we collected the full cell ID from the handset, there are things that we could possibly do to improve what we do now.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all we have time for. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you all to John, David, Magnus, Jacopo, Johannes, and Richard. Thank you. Stick around. We have an interactive session even. We're going to